In case you're wondering why I'm such a hardcore Christian, I thought that I would read you a passage from 2 Corinthians. Because every time I read the Bible, it vindicates me. And the reason why it vindicates me is because, forgive me if this sounds a little too arrogant, but sorry, this truck just cut off a Chevrolet and it makes me upset. It makes me upset. And you know why they do that? It's literally because they don't want to be behind somebody for like 2 seconds. You know, like whenever somebody's turning and they like slow down and then like the person behind them like just can't wait that additional 2 seconds. And so they switch lanes unexpectedly and cut somebody off because they're a piece of shit. They should go home and kill themselves, but they'll never develop self-awareness. But anyway, I know I don't talk like a Christian sometimes when I make these suicidal suggestions. But that's because there's so few people that are truly of God, that want what's best for this world. I realized yesterday that I'm actually a Unitarian. That's a philosophy that involves doing what's best for everybody in society. I know I bring this up a lot, but that is one of the main reasons why I still have a flip phone. Because it's better for everybody in society to not have a smartphone. Smartphones are very bad. They're bad for the environment. They're obviously bad for the people that use them. But they're great for the elite. They're great for the leftist lunatics that want to control everything. They're great for these like authoritarian right-wingers that want to control so many aspects of our lives. I mean, both political sides do that. They just do it in different ways. But technology, I am a lot like Ted Kaczynski. I'm not gonna go that route, but he was right about everything though. Let's see. Yeah, one of the reasons why I read the Bible so much is because it vindicates me. And it makes sense out of my life. And it makes sense out of the way that I think about everything and the way that I look at the world. And it took me a long time to realize that, you know, what led me to comedy, what led me to, you know, self-medicating with plants instead of, you know, going the pharmaceutical route. You know, what led me into the Orthodox Church, what motivated me to, you know, keep, you know, working in the restaurant industry when everybody told me that I should get a better job. I should get a real job. I should get a real job where I'm real depressed and I really kill myself. So I didn't take anybody's advice. I mean, other comedians have tried to give me advice. I didn't take that shit either. Like I said, anytime I take advice, I regret it. Like somebody told me to get on Instagram. I got on Instagram, went back to smoking. Okay, so right there. Should have just trusted my instinct. But one of my instincts was that maybe depression wasn't a bad thing. Maybe I was supposed to understand my experience. And in understanding my experience, that would do me a lot more good than just popping pills and expecting it to go away. So when I was on an antidepressant, anti-anxiety, and mood stabilizer. Now, I could never stay on the medication. Like, I really feel like the reason why people like me can't stay on medication is because medication's bad and we know the truth about it. And so, you know, instinctually or instinctively, doesn't matter, does it? Well, we don't feel right about it. And if we don't feel right about it, then we're not doing it in faith, and it's not going to work anyway. And so I learned, though, that in order to keep yourself in check, you know, you just can't react in front of other people. You want to keep yourself out of a mental institution. You want to keep yourself out of, you know, the gossip of like church people and family members and all that. You just got to maintain, motherfucker, maintain. So for me, that involves sobriety. You know, if I drink, then it's obvious that I'm insane. But if I don't drink, then I can maintain. But, you know, it's like I have my own private experience, and that's fine. It's brought me closer to God because I know that God understands and nobody in this world does. And it doesn't matter, like, how many people that watch this channel, like, they might get me, but it's like, you're not me, though. You're not in possession of this experience that I have. So when I say that we're all alone, like, yes, 100%. Stop lying to people and saying that we're not alone, because that's just not true. We're always alone. And just because we have people there that understand us for the time being, I mean, I'm at my friend Ronit's house. I feel like she understands me better than anybody. But we can't be together all the time. You know, she needs her space, I need my space. And it's just ridiculous to think that. Like, and I feel like with marriage and even with friendship, it just seems like there's just such high expectation that people place on their significant other or their friend group or the internet, you know, to just fix that person, validate that person, make that person feel important. Honey, that's up to you to figure that shit out. That's up to you. That's up to you to understand your experience and to make sense out of it. Okay? Anyway, 2 Corinthians. Sharing suffering, sharing comfort. So this is Paul speaking right now, the apostle. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and God of all comfort, who comforts us in all of our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort those who are in any trouble with the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by God. For as the sufferings of Christ abound in us, so our consolation also abounds through Christ. Now, if we are afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effective for enduring the same sufferings which we also suffer. Or if we are comforted, it is for your consolation and salvation. And our hope for you is steadfast, because we know that as you are partakers of the sufferings, so also you will partake of the consolation. What does that mean? You gotta take the good and the bad. You have to trust that when you're experiencing bad things, when you're experiencing turmoil, when you're experiencing heartache, when you're experiencing discomfort, you have to trust that God's got your back, motherfucker. And if you plow through that tribulation, if you deal with it in the best possible way, you know, it's like that silly little saying, like, put your best foot forward. You know, like, if you do that, if you have faith that you will get through that, you will get through it. And you will live to tell about it. And you will help other people that are struggling. Now, this is true psychologically. This is true when it comes to substances, okay? Why do you think the program of Alcoholics Anonymous helps more people stay sober than any other program? I mean, yeah, it's a program and everybody in it, and it's, you know, obviously in a cult, but, you know, that's fine because they're sober, right? It's a sober cult. Well, people aren't going to listen to somebody that hasn't been through anything. That's why psychiatry is so stupid. And the people that actually trust psychiatrists are so far gone, dude. And unfortunately, I know too many people that do. And, you know, I'm not gonna be, like, coming down on them for trusting their shrink and taking their medication as prescribed, you know, whatever. To each their own. But at the same time, back to that utilitarianism or whatever the fuck. It's like, it would be better for everybody if people got off psychiatric drugs and figure out holistic ways of dealing with their trauma. I'm not going to invalidate trauma. I'm not going to say that you don't have the hard time that you think you have, because you really believe that. Just like a transsexual person, or a person that's in the process of becoming transsexual, is convinced of their experience. They're convinced that they don't have the parts that they're supposed to have. In fact, the more naysaying that people do, the more trash talk, the more of this, you know, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know who you are, you blah, 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 blah. They're not going to listen to that, because it's almost like confirmation for them. So it's like, what example could I use right now? Okay, I'll just throw myself under the bus. Conspiracy theorists, okay? Do I have lipstick on my teeth? Probably at some point I will. Conspiracy theorists. Turn this on. Sorry. Oh, it feels so good outside. We need to appreciate this good weather in the brief time that we have it. Because you know that the weather machine will eventually give us shitty weather again, okay? That's what they do. But yeah, so like, if you're a conspiracy theorist, then people could tell you things, and even if there's like solid evidence that you're wrong about a particular conspiracy, you're going to be convinced because of that mindset that, oh, this person's just lying. You know, everybody's a liar. Everything's a lie. You know? And I feel like that's the kind of confirmation bias that so many people have. And I can only speak for Americans because I live in America. But it's like, people believe what they want to believe, and they discard everything else. Very few people are willing to look at new information, and even if they look at new information, their confirmation bias is going to have them convinced that new information is wrong, because they don't want to believe it. Well, Christianity is like the total opposite of that. Christianity is like, no, endure, motherfucker. Be uncomfortable. Suffer. And know that your suffering is not in vain. That's like the total opposite of this, you know, if it feels good, do it. We don't care about the future. I want what I want when I want it. Right now, right now, right now. It's like total opposite of that. Empathy is not something, both empathy and humility are two things that are not like welcomed by most people, because they don't understand the true value of those things. But, you know, I have a lot of people that flock to me when they watch me do comedy that are veterans, or, you know, people that have psychological trauma. So I know that I am of service to those people. I know that I do stuff that's important to them. I don't care if a total plebeian sheep that watches sporting events and believes in voting and a college education and all that shit. I'm not to sound too judgy or whatever, but you know, like it's no skin off my nose if people like that don't understand what I do. Okay? Like, you don't get it because you don't get my experience. I probably get these people's experience way more than they would ever get mine, but that's because I'm able to, just out of my interest, not necessarily because I just want to be a good person that takes myself out and imagines what it's like to be somebody else, because that's something that really good people do, right? I mean, it is, but that's not why I do it. I do it because I'm bored. So I get bored being myself. So I just try to imagine what it's like to be somebody else with that set of problems and that set of psychology and experiences that I don't have, you know? And that's why, you know, the more I've done that, the more I realize just how silly and downright stupid it is. It's just so arrogant on so many levels. It's ignorant and arrogant at the same time. To think that you can bring about effective change in a country that's this fucking emotionally immature. Okay? Like, people don't want to compromise. People don't want to do the right thing. They want to be mad. They want to huff and puff and shake their fists at people that they don't agree with. Whether they're doing that because of their religion or their religion. Because essentially, like, everything's a religion, you know? There are these little girls that are playing ball. They're so cute. You know, sometimes it does make me sad that, like, you know, I'm not going to give birth. But at the same time, it's like, I can't even, it's like, I think back on, like, times when I used to fantasize about, like, meeting somebody and, like, before I just accepted the fact that I'm gonna be alone forever and ever and ever, and that's how I prefer it, you know, but I noticed that I've never, ever, ever fantasized about, like, getting married and having kids. Like, that was never my thought process. Most women, that's what they think about. They think about their special day. They think about, you know, walking down the aisle. They're really just thinking about that wedding registry. That's really what it's about. I would say, like, most of the people that I've talked to that get married, that believe in marriage, that's the real reason why they're getting married. It's because of all the money that they're going to get from the guests. It's not because they really want to put forth all that effort to do what you could just do at a courthouse. Real cheap. But anyway. You get what I was saying, though? In relation to understanding oneself, I feel like most people don't understand so many things, okay? This is what I don't understand about Christian conservatives. Why in the motherfuck would you want people that don't believe in God, don't believe that a baby is a human being, think that at any given point, anyone can just, poof, change their gender, okay? They value a dog's life more than they value a baby's life. They value the life of a particular breed of dog that was literally born and bred to kill other things. They value that over the life of their own kids Okay? Why would you want these people to have families? Why would you be condemning them for believing in abortion? Of course they believe in abortion. They don't believe in life. Period. And why would you want people that don't have any understanding of life and how precious it is to have kids? Never understand that shit. But anyway, just because I understand the value of that and I appreciate things does not mean that I'm cut out for that sort of thing. You know? I mean, not everybody that's tall is gonna play basketball. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I need to bring that up. I feel like there's so many good points that I make all the time, but I never think about them when I'm on stage. It's just a total blank when I get up there. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But, yeah, I feel like our purpose in this world is to understand things. Our purpose in this world is to have an understanding that allows us a deeper appreciation of everything that God has given us. And so, it doesn't make sense to me why people would try to force their understanding onto other people. If you don't get it yourself, if you don't work for it, it's not going to mean diddly squat. You know? There's something that it's like called the power process or the power dynamic or something. It's all about, working for what you want. And how when you have a goal that you strive for, it means a lot more having to achieve that goal than if, something is just handed to you. I mean, the reason why narcissists are narcissists is because they feel totally entitled to things that they didn't work for. Is that a gunshot? I don't know. But, I have a theory that the reason why the narcissist is, incapable of changing or growing or anything is because, everything that their existence revolves around is totally artificial. So all the confidence that they have is artificial. And so, if they accomplish something, and some of them are really talented. Some of them, have really good qualities, and those good qualities have helped them fool a lot of people into thinking that they're good. I've met a lot of these people. They feign compassion really well. But it's like, all the things that they accomplish, they just leave them feeling even more empty. Probably because they don't have God. So they're not doing it for the right reason. They're doing it to, boost themselves up. And that's another thing. Okay, so both 1st and 2nd Corinthians talk so much about this egalitarian way of looking at everything. Okay? So I actually just read this. Okay, right here. I'm going to read this one part, and then I'm going to knock on Ronit's door and hope that she is not asleep. Okay. The idea of mutual giving. And in this I give advice. It is to your advantage not only to be doing what you began and were desiring to do a year ago, but now you also must complete the doing of it. That as there was a readiness to desire it, so there also may be a completion out of what you have. For if there is first a willing mind, it is accepted according to what one has, and not according to what he does not have. For I do not mean that others should be eased and you burdened, but by an equality, that now at this time your abundance may supply their lack, that their abundance also may supply your lack, that there may be equality. As it is written, he who gathered much had nothing left over, and he who gathered little had no lack. Now that's from Exodus that he's quoting. So tell me if I'm misinterpreting this, so that I can push my Christian communism. All right. But from the sound of that, it seems like Paul is strongly suggesting that we accept what we have and what we don't have. And that we push forward and we do the best that we can so that we can better serve others. And if everybody has this mindset, then everything will be perfect. This is what both the right and the left get wrong, okay? The whole idea of equality is something to strive for in relation to God, okay? The only way that equality can be achieved is through Jesus Christ. Nothing else. Because people are too competitive. And the whole reason why Paul is writing these letters to the Corinthians is because of the fact that there are these divisions. And sexual morality and eating stuff sacrificed to idols. You know, he's trying to explain, you know, that they need to behave a lot better if they're going to call themselves Christians. You know, and I think that that's a huge problem. You know, it's like that I hear this all the time. Yet another coworker said this to me today, that, you know, half of his family is super Christian, but they're all hypocrites, and they'll do the exact opposite of what they want everybody else to do. And so if you figure out what you're good at, if you figure out what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and stop trying to be good at things that you suck at, you know, it's like that. I accepted that a long time ago about myself, that, you know, I'm not a pretty girl. I'm not, you know, a punctual person. I'm not, you know, ever gonna be normal. I'm not ever gonna be this well-adjusted person. I mean, it allows me to flourish in whatever this weird existence is that you see. You know, when you look at me, like, you're looking at somebody that's done a lot of work on themselves. And I'm still working on myself. I'm a work in success, motherfucker. Okay? Like, what you see is success. I'm sober. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I can hold down a job. I show up to work. I can pay my bills most of the time. I, you know, take decent care of myself. I know that one of my teeth plumb fell out, but whatever. I do comedy a lot. It's like I'm pursuing goals that I know are achievable. And I think that so much of what people, it's like their whole lives are centered around, like, the attention that they get and the approval that they get. But it's like they're not looking to themselves for that, because they're not of God. Period, point blank. They're not of God. Because a person of God would go, well, this isn't making me happy. This isn't really working. Why am I doing this to myself? Why am I putting myself through this agony? All because I think that I'm pleasing these people that don't actually really care about anything, because nobody on the internet cares about anything. I'm sorry, but they don't. They don't! Go do something with real people in the real time. The internet is a falsity, okay? The internet is basically a representation of the world, okay? It's a lie. That's why it's called the world wide. The world wide web. Anyway, I hope you got something out of that long-ass video.